Amataku yepi. Chante washte nape chuzapi. Wakian wanatana machiapi. Yan waslaha emataha. Ate waiki Charles Remley. Ina waiki Donna Harrison. Well, hello everybody. With good feelings in my heart, extend a hand to each and every one of you. My Lakota name is Wakian Waanatan. My English name is Matt Remley. And my parents are Charles Remley and Donna Harrison. Okay, so in our last video, we took a little bit a quick look into the four primary medicines that we use as the Lakota, Dakota Nakota peoples, or the Ocheti Shakomi, sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and tobacco. What I wanted to do today is to take the time to do a little bit deeper dive, deeper look into this medicine here, the sage, or in our language, we call it Peji hota, which literally translates to gray grass for obvious reasons. So explain, kind of why this medicine is so important to us. So again, what we use this medicine for is to wazilia or smudge ourselves, to cleanse ourselves of any sort of negativity, in our mind, in our spirit, any negative energy that may have attached itself to us, and to purify, not only ourselves, but of spaces. We use it to purify buildings, your rooms, could be your home, dance arbors, schools, before you're going into ceremony, those ceremonial places or ceremonial objects, you'd want to smudge them off. This medicine is actually the first medicine that we use before we engage in any of our ceremonies. We'd want to wazilia or smudge or cleanse out those places to ensure that there's no negative energy in them before we engage in our various ceremonies. So this is the very first medicine we use to, again, cleanse all of those ourselves, other people, and the spaces. When it comes to harvesting, this particular medicine comes from the Northern Plains region, or I should say this species of Peji hota. There are many different types of species. But what I was taught was you want to bring yourself a little pinch of chanli, or that tobacco, and then before you harvest it, tell it, speak to it, talk to it on what your intended use for the medicine is. You want to have a relationship with it. So you offer that tobacco, you tell the medicine what your intended use of it is, and then put that tobacco on the ground. When it comes to actual harvesting, you don't want to just yank it up out of the ground, because if you do that, it ain't going to grow back. So just get some scissors and maybe a few inches up, just kind of snip it off from there. That way it ensures that it will grow back. I did want to go back briefly to that kind of speaking to it or talking to it piece. We actually do the very exact same thing when we're doing the wazilia or the smudging. Before you would light the sage on fire, speak to it, talk to it, tell it what you are in need of help with, so I like to say things like o makiayo unshimalayo tokashila o makiayo tokashila unshimalayo. My relative, oldest living being, help me out, have compassion towards me, help rid any sort of negative thoughts from my mind, any negative feelings in my spirit. These are our relatives. And just like any relative, you're going to ask assistance. You want to tell them why. And the more you develop that relationship, the more that medicine is going to help you. Okay, briefly, I wanted to talk about, when you're actually smudging, there's a couple different ways people use to put their medicine in. This is a pretty popular one, putting the sage or Peji hota in a shell and smudging oneself that way. One caution I have on these shells is they tend to get really hot under here. So if you are going to use that, just be aware of that. You know, you could burn your hand or set it down and burn something. I like to use this little cast iron pot that was gifted to me because I can stick quite a bit in there without it ever getting too hot. Just real quickly, if I'm going to smudge just myself, I would tend to just take a small leaf and, kind of ball it up like that and use that to smudge myself. You don't need some mass quantity or something like that, if you're just going to smudge yourself. Now, if I'm going to be smudging other people, spaces, or a ceremony, you'd want to use just a little bit more. So you just kind of pull that off, ball it up in the same way, light it on fire, and use my cast iron pot, and make sure you get the flame to go out, and then you got yourself a nice little smudge going. I did want to share that this is the way that it's taught to me. If you've learned different use or different way to use that medicine, follow those ways. But we would just cleanse our hands first, and then kind of wipe ourselves down. Again, speaking to it, wipe away that negative energy. All right, so it's just a little bit more about the Peji hota, and hope you all have a good day. Ampetu washte yuhapo.